Good evening, everybody. Vaheguru Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ki Fateh, Sat Kartar, Namaskar, Assalamu Alaikum to everyone. Namaskar, Namaskar, and Namaskar. This is the 57th Mēlā of the YaarAnād Virtual Baithak Series, and it is my pleasure to introduce you with a very dear friend and one of the nation's finest Mridangam players, Vidwan Anoor R. Ananthakrishna Sharma. In fact, we are meeting after. We've met over the years, but I had the fortune of inviting him to the Laya Darshan, revealing the riches of Indian rhythm, the first festival that I curated as head of the Anād Foundation at the time in 2005, which was held at the India Habitat Center. So it is my pleasure, and he's joining us from Bengaluru, and we'll have three of his students who will also be joining and doing some jugalbandi with us, jugalbandi with him, and sharing the performance and the concept and the idea behind that with us. Shivuji, as everybody calls him Shivu, and good evening to you, namaskar and welcome. Thank you so much again for the time, but I'm so glad we are able to meet, even if virtually.
Yeah, thank you for inviting us, and it's always a pleasure to perform to you. I still remember the first meeting that we both had in some wedding reception.
Yes.
I hope you remember.
Yes.
And you took for a coffee in the night, your car, and and I can see the way you sang all the that Guru Banis in different Thalas. Still I have that in my mind. And I have we start with Konakol and Mridangam. Konakol is the oral version of the Mridangam syllabus, and my student and also very good friend Vidwan Joyce.
I see.
And actually he's so fond of this Konakol art. He was in a very highly paid job in an FM radio, but he left that, and from last 4 years, he came and he's totally to the music and to the art of Konakol. I can tell you he's one of the best in our country, and I just gave him the mic to show you about the art of Konakol, and I will also be playing a little bit, so you can have see how the Mridangam goals is coming out poorly.
I see. So it is almost like the Padhant that we have in the north, is it?
Yes, it's the same. The version of Mridangam, we call it as Konakol.
I see.
Konakol. We'll be starting with the very basic sounds. Tha, Dhi, Tum, Nam. Tha, Tha, Dhi, Dhi, Tum, Tum, Nam, Nam. Kitta, Kitta, Tum, Tum, Kitta, Tum, Tum, Kitta, Tata, Kitta, Ding, Nam, Ding, Nam, Ding, 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 Nam, Ding, Ding, Nam, Tum, Kitta, Kitta, Taka, Tum, Tum, Ta. So it is done.
I see.
So we are going to start a show with the Thal. Chauka Kade. Chauka Kade. Kade means petal. You a flower. So Chauka means 4. So the same Adi Thala, but all the beats is counted 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1.
I
Here
see.
in this cycle.
Is it, how old is this this system? Because in the north we had this idea, the advent of the khayal system, which was old, but then the ektal, which was basically making 12 beats into 4 into 48 beats. Although they claim that, oh, we have a long system, but no, it's actually the beats are intermittent. You're counting as a long, but
This is very old. This is very old. Because
like,
you see, the Karnataka music was the one which we had in India all this time. Later on, only the Hindustani came and the Persian music came, and this was originated. This Thala is very old. You can see in scriptures also as Adi Thala.
no,
So
Aditana
many.
is, no, I'm talking about the 4, like the slow tempo, counting each beat is 4. How old is that?
I don't know, but it's really very,
It's old, okay.
very,
Oh, that was what I was asking, the whole idea of the extension of
yeah.
having 4, yeah.
What is the thing is, you don't have a fixed composition or a what you call a kriti or a bhajan like in this tal. There is one form called Raga, Tana, Pallavi.
I
A
see.
line is taken which gives you a good meaning, and then it is sung for this Tala, and we do a lot of intricate mathematics in that. So that's how this Tala is used more. I just wanted to play this because in North Indian music we have this Vidambit and other things.
Right.
Usually this is shown. I just want to just showcase this.
In fact, before we start, you know that we are all in Punjab and South Asia. We were affected by the destruction of the Golden Temple and the Akal Takht, which happened in these days. The uniqueness I want to point is that the performance of Kirtana that used to happen from the times of the Gurus was with the playing of Shan, or in the Vedic times, as Professor Kamlesh Datta Tripathi shared with me long time ago, many years ago, that they used to play the Nandi in the Vedic times, the playing of the percussion, and then the Kirtana would begin. And the Gurbani is one of the traditions where something similar is because it's a land of Vedas. Vedas are studied in Varanasi in the south and other parts of the country. But Punjab is the land, Sapta Sindhu or Panchanad is the land where the Vedas were written. Natya Shastra and everything was written there, etc., as all the scholars tell in the north, Professor Kamlesh Datta Tripathi. But the playing of the Shan had a meaning. They would say if the dha is played, or in the Nagada the jhai is played, the devilish intent goes away along with the ripple effect. It just pushes away the bad energy. So, the idea of the hatred, the animosity, the ill will that caused all the destruction, egos, jealousies, politicians wanting one over the other. I think it is very fitting that as I personally mourn, the destruction of the intangible and the tangible heritage, that we are playing the Mridangam today with the hope, with a prayer that all the devil intent, the bad intent, hatred that we possess in ours will be washed away, will be pushed away by the playing of the Mridangam. The rhythm, as I wrote long time ago, while studying with my teacher and mentor and the grantor of the Pagdi of the percussion, which is the oldest school of percussion, living tradition in South Asia, they say, over 5.5 centuries. What I understood as I coined in Shivuji is Laya Mal Pa Nandi hai. Laya, Mal is filth, Pa Nandi destroys, Laya deconditions. Yeah? Laya Mal Pa Nandi hai, जनमादी जम्मी लहंदी है, मधुर राग धुन पिघलंदी है, बाणी च तलंदी है, आपा एव मरंदी है. So it's like the Laya deconditions, the raga smelts, cast in the bani, in the sacred word, you die or your ego dies, is the death of the ego. So for me, it's very, very intimate, very personal that we have, today, as I am the head of the school of percussion from the Golden Temple, which doesn't exist inside the Darbar Sahib anymore. And it was not since 84, it had been destroyed by us, the Sikhs, decades ago. So for me, it is very poignant to sort of be together with you today, to be in conversation with you today, and to celebrate the gift of the percussion. The first percussionist at the Golden Temple was Bhai Babak, a Rababi, who also taught the ninth Guru when he was a child, the Mridanga, who himself was a prolific player. And I represent their tradition. So it's, imagine two traditions. You represent the tradition of the Trinity, and I represent the Gurū Nānak tradition. So for me, it's very intimate, very special, very poignant moment for me today. And I really thank you for taking time out today.
Thank you. As you said, we'll just change our plan. Before playing this Chauka Kale, we'll start with the one more verse. Ganesha, Lord Ganesha and Saraswati. We usually do that.
I see.
We thought of not today, but as you said, it gives a good impact and impression, and let us start with that. Then I will come to the regular
Absolutely.
part.
That's very kind of you. Yes, thank you.
He has a very good shloka in his hand. He wants to tell you about that Mridanga. What happens? The Mridangam is played.
So there have been many Sanskrit texts which talks about the dance system, the music system, or how percussion instruments have to be played and everything. So this is a small extract from Saṅgīta Makaranda, a music text written by Narad.
Yes.
In 1100 BC, 11th century BC. I'm just going to read that one small shloka. It says, Samadhvani Samayuktam Shruyate Putravardhanam Rajyabhibruddhi Hiratulam Rane Shatru Palayanam. So Narada Muni says that if you have to play Mridangam, you cannot play it loudly. You cannot play it softly. You have to play it with Samadhvani, with optimum sound. Only then the effect that's going to happen on you is that your country is going to flourish, your family is going to multiply, and then you will not have any shatru, you will not have any enemies. So there are many such extracts where it talks about how you have to play Mridangam, how you have to keep what your techniques are.
So what I wrote after understanding from my elder wasn't too wrong, huh?
It was the same. Maybe the language differs. It's all the same here.
So I must be the lost sibling. I must be the lost sibling of Narada Muni, huh?
We'll start with the 4 shlokas, then we'll come to the real part. You're getting effects from behind because they have manjari and everything.
I see.
You may not be able to see them, the sound is heard. Yeah.
Okay. Just make sure nobody is using the same Wi-Fi for any streaming because it will make it sluggish. Okay. Perfect. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Good.
Nita, Bandi, Banda, Mandi, Ganda, Kita, Rudu, Nita, Nija, Tanu, Rabi, Dada, Vadana, Pata, Lata, Lata, Dali, Kula, Kala, Nita, Do, Gana, Mati, Rabi, Mata, Mandaha Satpuradindri Paralochana Vida Aravinda Samana Sundara Sundari Uman Samahe Sharadam Sharadam Bhoja Vadanam Vadanam Sarvada Sarvada Smakam Sannidhim Sannidhim Priya.
That was very nice.
Thank you. So now we will move on to that 32 beats per cycle, which is called Chauka Kade Adi Thala.
taka jum, takita jum, tatikina to tatikina to tatikina to taka dim 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 na kita taka dim 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 na kita taka dim taka dim 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 na tam taka dim taka dim taka dim dum ta dum tam taka dim taka dim taka dim dum ta dum tam taka dim taka dim taka dim dum ta. Then tatim, tatim.
That was fantastic.
Thank you.
The volume of the microphone at times goes away.
Mridangam or Konakot?
Yeah, this microphone, I think it goes off. The way he recites, if I were to give him a list of 10 expletives, can he recite them as fast?
I think he will try. Yeah, he's very good in that.
I'll try, sir.
But who would understand that it was an expletive or or praise? And this is fantastic that you actually gave up your career to get into Padhant. I know that especially with the dance performances, it's used quite a bit, is it? The Padhant system, you have to recite along with them. So that's where you get a lot of opportunity to perform and to teach as well. I see.
Natongam is just like the Konakol, but the application is different. Like they are like two children from the same mother. Like Padant is all about reciting tabla or pakwas bowls, which we usually see or commonly see in tabla solo performances. Whereas Paramelu is seen along with Kathak. It's just like the difference between Padant and like Natuangam and Konakol.
Yeah, but right now the Padhant is all diluted. It is not the exact tradition. In the beginning, as I was taught, because my teacher, Bhai Arjan Singh Tarangad, was born 1900. So he was one of the mega stars before partition. He lived, I mean, it was a miracle that he lived till 95. For the last 5 years of his life was to teach his youngest student and the next bearer of the tradition. It was just, that has been considered as some sort of a miracle that the tradition survived, had to survive. Something like that happened at the time of Maharaja Ranjit Singh. But originally, what Bhai Arjan Singh Tarangad would say that the idea of Padhant was a very serious system, equally important as the playing itself. And he would also say that the Padhant and the playing is directly proportional to each other. A maestro's playing of the hand would only be as clear and as fast as the recitation. So nowadays it is more as a little aspect. In the past, if you were a maestro, if you played anything unique, you had to prove that you could play, you could recite it, otherwise it would be seen as a hodgepodge. So every composition was actually rendered and then played, otherwise it was not accepted. It was seen as just filling up the gaps in between and doing just whatever you did.
I'll teach them first and I'll make them perfect in the talam and the recitation. Then only they will be playing.
Oh, look at that. Now you're claiming that you're the one who spoiled him, is it? Who left his job? You're the one. So you're the culprit, is it? So if the parents have to fight, I'll tell them whom to fight with.
So, to be very frank, sir, this concept of first recitation or practicing it on the vocals and then translating it to instruments goes back to 14th century Natya Shastra, where the Bharata Muni says that there are first 16 syllables. Tat choda shaksharamiti taduttam tadanu vyakhyasyaamaha ka kha ga gha ta tha dharna ta tha dhana yara laha iti shoda shaksharani niyatam pushkara vadhe vakkarnehi samvidheyani. The great Bharata Muni says that these are the 16 syllables which you should recite vocally, practice on Thala. Then you have to translate it on the rhythmic instruments. So that has been the tradition even in our Carnatic music system. So every guru first makes the student to vocally memorize the compositions, put it right on the Thala, and then translate it on the instrument.
Absolutely. We had in the Gurbani, I'm not talking about North because North is an interesting idea. What is North music? I belong to the Gurbani Sangeet, which is much older. Like the Carnatic music today, as it is 250, 300 years old. Of course, the old Pramanas are not there. But Gurbani from the tradition from Gurū Nānak onwards has survived. And the original tradition which I have received. In that, there are three aspects. One is which you just mentioned. I'm just sharing for our listeners so that they see two systems which are unaffected by the Mughal court or the northern Indian royal courts and the influence of the Persian and other imports, which is more Indic and ancient. First is the Padhant, the actual rendition, and then the Nikas is taught. The Nikas is taught after the Padhant is perfected, and then the playing is perfected. So there is a three-pronged process And what you're telling me, I also see that that's how the process is. It is not just straight away the hands and playing this. You have to be very proficient, and then you are given the etiquette of attending to an instrument.
Yeah.
Shivaji, is that something similar? Does that sound familiar?
We do as what you said. My guru taught me like that. Before teaching anything, we will be perfect in putting talam and reciting. Then only we give him the instrument, so that he'll be sure of what he's playing. That's the idea. That's how we are being taught.
Yeah.
And shall we move to the second part?
Yes, sir.
This is Kandanade. As you say, Kandanade for takita dim, takita dim, takita taka, takita dim, takita. So in this Kandanade, we'll be doing a little bit of mathematics and various combinations. And there is also a shlokas is recited, which is written by Adi Shankaracharya.
I see.
We start from Chaturashra and then Angel.
We will start from Chaturashra and then move on to Kandajati.
So from 4 to 5 you will advance.
Yes. निराकारणेकं निरानन्दमानन्दमद्वैतपूर्णं परं निर्गुणं निर्विशेषं निशेषं परब्रह्मरूपं गणेशं भजेम परब्रह्मरूपं गणेशं भजेम परब्रह्मरूपं गणेशं भजेम गुणातीतमानं चिदानन्दरूपं चिदाभासकं सर्वगं ध्यानगम्यं मुनिध्येयमाकाशरूपं परेशं परब्रह्मरूपं गणेशं भजेम परब्रह्मरूपं गणेशं भजेम परब्रह्मरूपं गणेशं भजेम रूपं सुराधीं सुखाधीं गुणेशं गणेशं जगद्व्यापिनं विश्ववन्द्यं सुरेशं परब्रह्मरूपं गणेशं भजेम परब्रह्मरूपं गणेशं भजेम परब्रह्मरूपं गणेशं भजेम
This was Andanade, and now we are going to demonstrate how the South Indian tradition of Ishranade, these 3 matras per a beat. Takita, 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 takataka, dinatakita. 3, 6, 12, and if you can play 24.
Yeah. The idea, if I may, before we go there, the compositions that you play, how is there a repertoire that exists from centuries ago, or is this something that has been created? Some of the compositions are composed by you or by your teachers or their teachers, like that is in the recent times, the 21st century or late 20th century or 19th century, 20th century. What about the repertoire? How does the knowledge transmit?
Of course, they teach these things, but most of the tihais and composition, what you're talking about, it's not as full. We'll be changing. Now, what all the composition we played till now, this was my own compositions.
I see.
But I will be inspired by some other composition, and I have done my own. And the way I think, because I play most of the time in a group, 8 to 10 artists together with different percussions and other things. So I have different ideas for which fits most of the other instruments, like drum, chanda, there will be tabla and other tawil and everything will be there. So usually I make this idea. And this composition is my own. It is about 30 years only.
I see. And is there is there something that is remembered from the times of Tyagaraja, Muthuswami Dikshitar, Shama Shastri, or earlier or later masters?
If you say like that, we remember most of their compositions.
The kritis, vocal compositions. Kriti. But not what was played on the mridangam or the percussion with them is not recorded anywhere.
Composition, which their own school, like have you heard of Sri Palghat Madiyayarji? He is a legend. Yes. And Dakshinamurti Pillai, Parani Subramaniam Pillai. So their students, they have few of the composition which their gurus used to play. And I don't belong to their school, perfect meet. Though I come from, my guru was somehow from a Palghat school, but his style differed because it came down from so many of them. So, but there are some compositions where this old masters used to play. There is one like he used to play in higher speed.
That's fantastic. But how old is this? This composition is how old in the sense that it is something 20th century, early 20th century?
Maybe 100 years. His
I see.
Guru, Mahavaidyanatha Iyer,
I see.
Mahavaidyanatha.
I see.
He has only told in one of his speeches.
I see. And there is, talking in terms of writing, there is no scripture or book that has survived with the percussion compositions in the South, is it?
No. There is no any scriptures or any that oral, written literature.
Right. At the time when in 1903 or so, when Subburama Dikshita wrote, several compositions, but there was nobody doing percussion work at the same time, is it?
A few books. Dharmala Ramurthy from Andhra, and a few of them. Now I've requested one to translate into my language, Kannada.
I see.
And in that kind, you don't find like what you said very old, like more than 100 years or so.
I see.
It's all taught by his guru.
I see.
Okay. You can find slokas or something, but compositions are just within 100 years or so.
I see.
This is a point to think, as you said.
Yeah.
There are so many masters, but it's not written.
I see. Perfect. Thank you for that. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, I'd like to add a small point that in percussion, there are two big traditions. One is the Thavil tradition and another is the Mridangam tradition. In both of these traditions, it has always been an oral to oral, like the Guru to Shishya, it has always been an oral transmission of the compositions. Like the Guru teaches and the student listens to it and memorizes it.
That is.
Though we have many kritis available in written format, the percussive compositions has not been available in any documentation format of late. But now there are a lot of DVDs, like books that have been available right now. But most of the traditional compositions have come from the student, from the gurus to the students, and most of the time there have been little more changes. Like once a student learns a composition, he tries to add his own version, and then the composition goes on improvising from the student to another student. So that might be one big reason why we have not been able to stick to one writing format.
No, but that is doesn't what you shared, I think is if I may, that's common knowledge within the fraternity of learning. But I'm just ruining the fact that, for example, in my percussion tradition, the only diaries I have, my grand teacher Baba Harnam Singh, of Jammu. He was a chief court physician or so with the Jammu court, disciple of Ustad Baba Bhoop Singh, who was dedicated by his father, Baba Maiya Singh, who had a big Jagir granted by Maharaja Ranjit Singh. And he grew up on studied with the two grand masters of the Golden Temple tradition. At that time, it was Darbar Sahib. The gold leafing was yet to happen at the time. He received a scholarship of ₹1 a day to study with the two grand masters, so that the tradition at that time survived. So my work of the last 30 years is being equated with what was done at that time to recover, because the tradition also died just before I came along, and the reason why I renounced my flying career to get into conservation. And percussion was one of the things I revived and recovered. And people have remembered a few compositions, a lot of compositions at times, but they don't understand the idea of the tradition, how it flows. Now, personal copies and diaries have survived. My granduncle, Pai Sahib Gurcharan Singh, wrote, Bhai Arjan Singh Tarangad wrote, so I have those diaries. Some of them are, Baba Harnam Singh's diaries are from the 19th century. There are some fantastic compositions which go way back in time, like for example, goes back. This is told to go back to Guru's times and so on and so forth, some rare compositions. But they were all sort of personal diaries. Of course, knowledge was kept secretively because it was competition. There was cutthroat competition. It was to do with patronage. It was to do with who will play with whom. Written aspects, only the sacred texts which were for the masses and not exclusive knowledge, like Guru Granth Sahib, was made available, right? Some of the scriptures were handwritten and many copies were made. But the intangible heritage as such, ragic compositions like Guru Granth Sahib's Pada you will find. If we look at Bhaj Ramo Man Ram, Jis Rupa Na Rekh Vadam, this composition is in Rag Kannada, Shuddh Kannada, but the text you will find written in the Guru Granth Sahib. But the original composition of Guru Ram Das, composed in the second half of the 16th century or later 16th century, is only remembered by those who study directly from him and their descendants. My ancestor was one of them, and we remember Bhaja Ramo Man Ram. Shuddh Kannada doesn't exist in Hindustani Sangeet. This raga doesn't exist. Bhaja Ramo Man Ram. Jis Rupa Na Rekh Vadam. Sad Sangat Mēlā Bhaja Ram. Bhad Ho Bhag Matham. Bhaja Rama Man Ram. Talking to the mind, cajoling, the whole idea of the Andolit and so on, but it is used as a weapon against the mind. Cajoling, convincing the mind, hey, get into the, engage in the Suviran, in the bhajan of Ram, the Rama Ram, the Ramat Ram, not just the Dasar Putra Ram, the one who's omniscient, whose Aprabhamsh is from Ramayya to Ram, the original. As you sang, it is the Prabhu or Paramatam Rupa Ganesha. But in the Guru's tradition, we are not bound by a Rupa. We are bound to the one whose Rupas are many. Right? So this whole exegesis and so on and so forth is the mind is being spoken to in this composition by Guru Ram Das. But this musical composition was never written down. Only the text is written. So I think, Shivaji, that my conversation with you on this aspect is more addressing to the idea that although we have the Kritis of Tyagaraja, Kritis of Muthuswami Dikshita, Kritis of Shama Shastri go back to Bhagat Jayadeva, the oldest author of Guru Granth Sahib is Bhagat Jayadeva. His works inside the Guru Granth Sahib are the oldest compositions. 3 years younger to him is Baba Sheikh Farid, the Sufi Marga exponent, one of the grand Sufi Margis. But their words are there, but the musicality is no rag composition written, and percussion also is not written. What was played along? If it has been remembered, if you are fortunate to go back in terms of if a family has survived or tradition has survived, then we know, okay, Guru Tegh Bahadur played this composition. This played by Guru Tegh Bahadur. Now, sadly, I'm the only one now with the knowledge of remembering what was played by the Gurus. And I've not recited the whole. Because many people then copycat it, deliberately. I've passed it on to my students. But many people who say, oh, how is Bhai Baldeep Singh the head of the older school? They don't know the Tawarik. They just learn a few compositions there and then they think they are grandmasters. Right? But the point is, when we look at the problem, if we call it a problem, the handicap that we have inherited is that the sacred text has been written, but the musical notation of that composition, like the Kritis of Tyagaraja, has been remembered orally, as you rightly pointed out. But then the percussion tradition is also not being recorded. Is something that I take away from this conversation. Am I right to infer that, Shivuji?
Yeah, that's what you told is right. You get the notation of Tyagaraja, Shama Shastri, and Dikshita are pre-Trinity or post-Trinity. That's because of it was written by their students. And also it's not that originally what Tyagaraja sang and Dikshita sang, it has been moderated and or just changed to the present day conditions. But percussion, I would like to add one thing. Before Mani Iyer came, The percussion was just a support to keep the thala. Like if anybody can sing Vatapi Ganapati Bhajayam Vatapi Ganapati Bhajayam. They used to play only to keep that tempo or the laya.
I see.
What Mani came and changes, he started embellishing the composition and playing exactly what they are singing. I can't sing and play, so he's also singing.
I think they've lost the light. We will wait for the system to reset. Well, it's really fantastic always to speak with Shivu or Vidwan Anoor, Ananthakrishna Sharma. He's a fantastic scholar, an outstanding player, as you've seen. His students are brilliant too. The whole problem, as I was sharing with him, dosto main Angrezi, I've already spoken English, I'll maybe address this in Punjabi. कि मैं दोस्तों गल कर रहा सां कि ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਮੱਸਿਆ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਂਝੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਕੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਕਰਨਾਟਕ ਸੰਗੀਤ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਬੰਦਿਸ਼ਾਂ ਹਨਗੀਆਂ ਮਰਦੰਗ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਵਜਾਈਆਂ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਹਨਗੀਆਂ ਉਹ ਕੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਲਿਖੀਆਂ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਹਨਗੀਆਂ ਪੁਰਾਣੀਆਂ ਜਾਂ ਨਵੀਆਂ ਹਨਗੀਆਂ ਜੇ ਪੁਰਾਣੀਆਂ ਹਨ ਤੇ ਕਿੰਨੀਆਂ ਪੁਰਾਣੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਹਾਊ ਓਲਡ ਦੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜ਼ਿਕਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਹੁਣ ਤਾਈਂ ਵਜਾਈਆਂ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ 30 ਸਾਲ ਪੁਰਾਣੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਰਚਨਾਵਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਵਜਾਈਆਂ ਸਨ ਇਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ 'ਚ ਬੜਾ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਹੈਗਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਲਈ ਜਾਣਨਾ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਹਰ ਚੀਜ਼ ਵੱਜਦੀ ਨੂੰ ਜਾਣ ਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਨਵਾਂ ਜਾਂ ਪੁਰਾਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਤੇ ਇਹ ਕੋਈ ਚੰਗੀ ਮਾੜੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਬੜੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਕੰਪੋਜ਼ਰ ਹਨਗੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨਵੀਆਂ ਰਚਨਾਵਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਮੈਂ ਕਈਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਾਣਦਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਾਣਦਾ ਲక్ష్మణ ਸਿੰਘ ਸੀਨ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਰਚਨਾਵਾਂ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਪਵਨ ਕੁਮਾਰ ਵਰਮਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਵਾਈ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਪਿੰਕੀ ਨਾਮਧਾਰੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਰਚਨਾਵਾਂ ਬੜੀਆਂ ਆਊਟਸਟੈਂਡਿੰਗ ਨੇ ਕਈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸ਼ਾਗਿਰਦ ਹਨਗੇ ਉਹ ਵਜਾਉਂਦੇ ਹਨਗੇ ਸੋ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਭਾਵ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮੇਰੀਆਂ ਵੀ ਰਚਨਾਵਾਂ ਕਈ ਹਨਗੀਆਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਲੋਹਾ ਮੰਨਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਸੋ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਭਾਵ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਰਚਨਾਵਾਂ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਰੰਪਰਾ ਵਾਲੇ ਹੋ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਜੇ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਮੰਨ ਲਓ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਕਵਿਤਾ ਨਵੀਂ ਕਰੋਗੇ ਜੇ ਸੁਰਜੀਤ ਪਾਤਰ Shivaji, I'm glad to have you back. I'm just translating some of the conversation that we had by the time you set up. Yeah. I'm just sharing that in Punjabi, summarizing the conversation. Yeah. So I'll just take a few minutes to share with everyone. ਤੇ ਦੋਸਤੋ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਰੰਪਰਾ ਦਾ ਆਧਾਰ ਹੈਗਾ ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਪਹੁੰਚੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਵੀ ਮਿਲ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਭਾਈ ਵੀਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਹੋਣਾ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਪੁਰਾਣੀਆਂ ਕਵਿਤਾਵਾਂ ਹੀ ਫੇਰ ਲਿਖੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਨਵੀਆਂ ਵੀ ਲਿਖੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਹੈ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬਾਬਾ ਸ਼ੇਖ ਫਰੀਦ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਕਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਨੋਟਡ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਲਿਖਿਤ ਰੂਪ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਹੈ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪੁਰਾਣੀ ਕਹੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਕਿ 900 ਸਾਲ ਪੁਰਾਣੀ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਕਵਿਤਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵੀ ਲਿਖੀ ਗਈ ਹੋਏਗੀ ਲੇਕਿਨ ਉਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਬਚੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਜੋ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪੁਰਾਣਾ ਕਿਹਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਆਥਰ ਵੀ ਕਹਿ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਪ੍ਰਮਾਣ ਜਾਂ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪੁਰਾਣਾ ਪ੍ਰਮਾਣ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਉਹ ਬਚਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਆਪਾਂ ਹੁਣੇ 2-3 ਦਿਨ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ 100 ਸਾਲਾ ਮਨਾਇਆ ਹੈਗਾ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਹਰਭਜਨ ਸਿੰਘ ਹੋਣਾ ਦਾ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਕਵੀ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਤਾਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਸਿੱਖੇ, ਪੰਜਾਬੀ 'ਚ ਲਿਖੀਆਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ। ਨਜ਼ਮ ਹੁਸੈਨ ਸੈਯਦ ਹਨਗੇ, ਉਧਰ ਕਈ ਨੇ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਕਵੀ ਨੇ। ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤਾ ਪ੍ਰੀਤਮ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੋਈ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ, ਉਦਨ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਸੁਰਜੀਤ ਪਾਤਰ ਜੁੜੇ ਸਨ, ਨਵਤੇਜ ਭਾਰਤੀ ਹੋਣੀ ਜੁੜੇ ਸਨ, ਮਦਨ ਗੋਪਾਲ ਹੋਣੀ ਜੁੜੇ ਸਨ, ਨਵਤੇਜ ਭਾਰਤੀ ਹੋਣੀ ਦੇ ਭਰਾ ਅਜਮੇਰ ਰੋਡੇ ਹੋਣੀ, ਜਸਵੰਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਜ਼ਫਰ ਹੋਣੀ ਹਨ। ਕਿੰਨੇ ਕਵੀ ਨੇ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਆਪ ਜਾਣਨਾ ਹੈਗਾ। ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀ ਲਿਖ ਲੈਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਪ੍ਰਾਇਮਰੀ ਸਕੂਲ ਵਾਲੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਤਾਂ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਨਾ। ਜੇ ਮੈਂ ਹੁਣ ਦਸਮ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਦਾ ਦਰਬਾਰ ਦਾ ਵਰਣਨ ਕੀਤਾ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਚਰਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਵਰਣਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿ ਕੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਉਸਤਤੀ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸਿੰਘ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੇ ਨਾਂ 'ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਲਿਖੀ ਸੀ ਅੱਜ ਤੋਂ ਖਬਰੇ 20 ਸਾਲ 22 ਸਾਲ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕਿ ਗਰਜਤ ਮ੍ਰਿਦੰਗ ਆਜ ਗੁਰੂ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸਿੰਘ ਨ ਚਰਨਨ, ਰਬਾਬ ਬਜਾਵਤ ਗੁਣ ਗਾਵਤ ਤਾਉਸ ਸਰੰਦਾ ਬੀਨ ਸਰਕਾਵਤ, ਗਜਨਨ ਪਰਨ ਧਗੜ ਧਾਵਤ ਦੇ ਦੇ ਮਕਾਨ छैले। ਸੋ ਇਹ ਰਚਨਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਇਹ ਮੇਰੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਕਵਿਤਾ। ਸੋ ਜੇ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਦੀ ਪਕੜ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਲਿਖਦਾ ਹੈ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਵਿਤਾ ਕਰਦਾ। ਸੋ ਜੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੰਪੋਜੀਸ਼ਨਸ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕੁਆਲਿਟੀ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਬਹੁਤ ਅੱਛੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਪਹੁੰਚੀ ਹੈ, ਜਿੰਨੀ ਅਮੀਰ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਪਹੁੰਚੀ ਹੈ। ਅਮਰਜੀਤ ਚੰਦਰ ਹੋਣੀ ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਮਹਾਨ ਕੋਸ਼ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਲਈ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਖਾਨ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ। ਮੈਨੂੰ ਯਾਦ ਹੈ ਕਈ ਸਾਲ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਜ਼ਿਕਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀਗਾ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮੈਪਿੰਗ ਅੱਖਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ ਭਾਈ ਕਾਹਨ ਸਿੰਘ ਨਾਭਾ ਨੇ, ਇਟ ਕਮਸ ਹੈਂਡੀ ਟੂ ਦ ਪੋਇਟ, ਇਟ ਇਨਸਪਾਇਰਸ ਅ ਨਿਊ। ਇੱਕ ਅੱਖਰ ਕਈ ਵਾਰ ਨਵੀਂ ਕਵਿਤਾ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਬੀਜ ਰੂਪ ਪੈ ਕੇ ਹੋਲ ਪੋਇਮ ਕਮਸ ਆਊਟ ਆਫ ਵਨ ਵਰਡ, ਉਹ ਇੰਸਪਾਇਰ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦਾ। ਸੋ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਅੱਛੀ ਆਵੇ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅੱਛੀ ਕਵਿਤਾ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਪਰੰਪਰਾ ਪ੍ਰਕਸ਼ਨ ਦੀ ਲਏ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮੰਡਲ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਜੇ ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਸੁੱਚੀ ਔਰ ਅੱਛੀ ਪਰੰਪਰਾ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੇ ਹੋ, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕੁਆਲਿਟੀ ਆਫ ਕੰਪੋਜੀਸ਼ਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਾਬਲੀਅਤ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਐਜ਼ ਏ ਕੰਪੋਜ਼ਰ, ਉਹ ਉਨੀ ਅੱਛੀ ਹੋਏਗੀ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਆਧਾਰ ਅੱਛਾ ਹੋਏਗਾ। ਸੋ ਪਰੰਪਰਾ ਦਾ ਸਿੱਖਣਾ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਬੱਝੇ ਹੋ। ਉਹਦਾ ਮਕਸਦ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਟੂਲਸ ਆ ਗਏ ਨੇ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਯੰਤਰ ਤੰਤਰ ਮੰਤਰ ਆ ਗਏ ਨੇ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਰਚਨਾਵਾਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਹੁਣ ਅੰਤਾਕਸ਼ਰੀ ਛੰਦ ਨੇ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੰਪੋਜ਼ਰ ਹਨਗੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਨਮਨ ਕੀਤੀ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਕਰਕੇ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਹੈ ਮੇਰੀ ਰਚਨਾ ਹੈ, ਅੰਤਾਕਸ਼ਰੀ ਛੰਦ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਬੜਾ ਔਖਾ ਔਰ ਬੜਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਕਿਸਮ ਦਾ ਨਵਾਂ ਇਹ ਪੁੱਠੀ ਅੰਤਾਕਸ਼ਰੀ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਉਹ ਅਵਿਸ਼ਕਾਰ ਤਾਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਜੇ ਪੁਰਾਣਾ ਆਧਾਰ ਜੇ ਬਚਾ, ਉਹਦੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਚਿੰਤਨ ਕੀਤਾ, ਉਹਦਾ ਮਨਨ ਕੀਤਾ। ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਅੰਤਾਕਸ਼ਰੀ ਛੰਦ ਨੇ ਪੁਰਾਣੇ ਆਏ ਹੋਏ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਰਿਆਜ਼ਤ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਉਹੀ ਮੌਜ ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਬਣੀ। ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਅੰਤਾਕਸ਼ਰੀ ਦਾ ਤਸੱਵੁਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੋਏਗਾ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅਰਪਣ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਰਚਨਾ। ਸੋ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਇਹਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤਿਹਾਈ ਹੈ, ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਤਿਹਾਈ ਉਹ ਮੇਰੀ ਰਚਨਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਗਿਆਨੀ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਸਿੰਘ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਮੀਆਂ ਕਾਦਰ ਬਖਸ਼ ਹੋਣਾ ਦਾ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਿਰਫ ਤਿਹਾਈ ਯਾਦ ਸੀ, ਪਹਿਲਾ ਬੋਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਯਾਦ ਸੀ। ਦੇਖੋ ਹੈ ਜੀ, ਇਹ ਮੈਂ ਦੱਸ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਕਈ ਜਣੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮੀਆਂ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੰਮ ਆਏਗੀ। ਇਹ ਤੀਆ ਇਹਦਾ ਲੇਕਿਨ ਮੁਖੜਾ ਗਿਆਨੀ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਯਾਦ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਇਆ ਸੀ, ਬੜੇ ਬਿਰਧ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਸਨ ਉਦੋਂ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇਹ ਬੜਾ ਮਹਿੰਗਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਤੇ ਮੀਆਂ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਉਸਤਾਦ ਹੋਣਾ ਦਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਯਾਦ ਕਰ ਲਓ। ਤੇ ਉਹ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਦੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਅੰਤਾਕਸ਼ਰੀ ਛੰਦ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਨਾਲ ਲਾਇਆ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਰੋਏ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੀਆ ਸੀ ਹੁਣ ਜੀਵੇਗਾ ਫੇਰ। ਹੈ ਦੇਖੋ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਜੀ ਰਿਹਾ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਪਬਲਿਕ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤਾ, ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਵੀ ਕਰਦਾ ਦਿੱਤੀ, ਦਾਦ ਵੀ ਦਿੱਤੀ। ਉਹ ਗਿਆਨੀ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਸਿੰਘ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਉਸਤਾਦ ਤਾਂ ਮੀਆਂ ਜੀ ਨੇ, ਪਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਤਰੰਗੜ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਵਜਾਉਂਦੇ ਸੀ ਤਾਂ ਮੀਆਂ ਜੀ ਖਾਰ ਖਾਂਦੇ ਸੀ। ਇੰਨਾ ਪਿਆਰ ਸੀ ਆਪਸ 'ਚ। ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਕੀ ਪਿਆਰ ਤਰੰਗੜ ਵਜਾਉਂਦਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਸਮਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦਾ, ਇੰਨਾ ਪਿਆਰ ਸੀ, ਇਤਫਾਕ ਸੀ। ਆਹ ਝਗੜਾਈਆਂ ਨਫ਼ਰਤਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਭਰੇ ਹੋਏ ਆ, ਇੱਕ ਦੂਜੇ ਨੂੰ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਸਨ ਲੋਕ, ਵਾਹਵਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਸਨ ਇੱਕ ਦੂਜੇ ਦੀ, ਇੱਕ ਦੂਜੇ ਨੂੰ ਤਸਲੀਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਸਨ ਕਿ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵਿਦਵਾਨ ਹੋ, ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਕਦਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਉਹ ਵੀ ਇੱਕ ਦੂਜੇ ਨੂੰ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਕਰਦੇ ਸਨ। ਸੋ ਮੈਂ ਉਹ ਜ਼ਿਕਰ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਕੁਆਲਿਟੀ ਆਫ ਲਰਨਿੰਗ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ, ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਕੁਆਲਿਟੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਰੈਂਡੀਸ਼ਨਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਦਾ ਮਿਆਰ ਬੜਾ ਉੱਚਾ ਹੋਏਗਾ, ਉਹ ਛੋਟਾ ਮਿਆਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਏਗਾ। ਸੋ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਸ਼ਿਵੂ ਜੀ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਐਕਸਪੋਜ਼ਰ ਜਾਂ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਚਿੰਤਨ, ਜਿੰਨਾ ਵੱਡਾ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਚਿੰਤਨ ਹੋਏਗਾ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵੱਡਾ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਆਪਣੀ ਕੰਟਰੀਬਿਊਸ਼ਨ ਹੋਏਗੀ। ਅਮੀਰ ਇਹ ਪਰੰਪਰਾਵਾਂ ਇਦਾਂ ਬਚਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਿਆਣਾ ਹੀ ਦੇਖ ਲਓ, ਹੁਣ ਮੇਰਾ ਪਿਓ ਤਾਂ ਜੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦਾ, ਮੇਰਾ ਪਿਓ ਹੈ ਨਹੀਂ, ਮੈਂ ਹੁਣ ਅਨਾਥ ਹੈਗਾ, ਮੇਰੀ ਮਾਂ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ। ਹੁਣ ਪਰੰਪਰਾ ਦਾ ਜਿਉਣਾ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਮਾਂ ਤੇ ਪਿਓ ਨੂੰ ਚੱਕੀ ਫਿਰੋ, ਜੇ ਸਵਾਸ ਬੰਦਾ ਪੂਰੇ ਕਰ ਜਾਵੇ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਲਾਸ਼ਾਂ ਚੱਕੀ ਫਿਰੋ, ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ। ਉਹ ਬਾਇਜ਼ਤ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅਰਪਣ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ, 5 ਤੱਤਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵਾਪਸ ਦੇ ਦੇਣਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ। ਪਰ ਉਹ ਪਰੰਪਰਾ, ਜੇ ਪਰੰਪਰਾ ਕੋਟ ਐਂਡ ਕੋਟ ਜੋ ਪਰੰਪਰਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਉਹ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮਾਂ ਪਿਓ ਦੋ ਸੰਗਮ ਮਿਲ ਕੇ ਮੇਰੇ 'ਚ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਜੀ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਗਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਜਾਣਗੇ, ਇਹਨੂੰ ਪਰੰਪਰਾ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ। ਪਰੰਪਰਾ ਦਾ ਨਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਮੁਰਦਾਰ ਦਾ ਨਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਕਿਸੇ ਬੁੱਤ ਜਾਂ ਮੁਰਦਾਰ ਦਾ ਨਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ। ਪਰੰਪਰਾ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਹੁੰਦਾ। ਜਿੰਨੀ ਵੀ ਬਚੇ ਉਹ ਬੀਜ ਵਾਂਗੂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ। ਇੱਕ ਬੀਜ, ਇੱਕ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਕਹੀਏ ਸਾਰੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੀ ਬਨਸਪਤੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਕਣਕ ਦੀ, ਮੰਨ ਲਓ ਸਾਰੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ 'ਚ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਣਕ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਇੱਕ ਬੀਜ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਮਾ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਇੱਕ ਬੀਜ ਜੀਵਿਤ ਆ ਗਿਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਖੇਤਾਂ ਦੇ ਖੇਤ ਲਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਇਹ ਪਰੰਪਰਾ, ਇਹਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਬੀਜ ਰੂਪ, ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਦਾ ਹਾਫਿਜ਼ ਹਾਂ ਦੋਸਤੋ। ਸੋ ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਸਮਝ ਵੀ ਸਕਦਾ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਹ ਐਜ਼ ਏ ਜੌਹਰੀ ਦੇ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ, ਕਿਸੇ ਮੈਂ ਜੌਹਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ, ਜੌਹਰੀ ਵੀ ਹਾਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਘਰ ਦਾ, ਔਰ ਮੈਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਪਰੰਪਰਾਵਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਜੌਹਰੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਅੱਖਾਂ 'ਚੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਦੇਖ ਰਿਹਾ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦਿਖਾ ਵੀ ਰਿਹਾ ਨਾਲ ਨਾਲ ਬੈਠਾ। ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਚੱਲਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਸ਼ਿਵੂ ਜੀ ਕੋਲ, ਜੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਆ ਗਈ ਹੈ। ਹਾਊ ਇਜ਼ ਇਟ ਗੋਇੰਗ? Are you live on Skype although, no?
Yeah. Yes, same Skype.
Okay.
Are you able to hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you. So we can maybe we can put another phone. Where I can see you as well. The light can be turned towards you a bit. Yes, that's good.
Yeah, what happened? Suddenly the rain started.
Oh, it's okay. Not a problem. It could have been my side also. It's okay. Don't be apologetic or don't be embarrassed in any way, because my system could have gone down too. We are virtually, and that's the romance of the idea of being together virtually, though. We have to live with the technical handicaps. Yes.
And now I will welcome my another senior student, Nagendra Prasad. He will be playing Pancham Shruti Mridangam for this. And
can we have the camera? Can we have the camera moved little bit to the right, just a bit, like couple of inches dimension? I need very little bit more. That's it. That's good. That's it. Very nice. Thank you very much. Yes, Shivaji, continue.
The way percussion solo is introduced in concert is after singing some composition. They sing sargams and rag and other things. I just want to demonstrate by singing a little, and then we will play the solo part.
Perfect.
Okay.
Look forward. Welcome to the YaarAnād Virtual Baithak Series. Yes, thank you for taking time out to your student.
You have to bear with my singing now.
Oh, I see. I'll plug my ears, don't worry.
I will sing only the Pallavi portion of the composition, Kruti, and then I will sing a little bit Sargam and we will be playing the solo part.
Okay.
This is Rupak for you. 7 beats.
Let's see.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So they sing this and then we will start the solo.
Wow, wow, wow. That was very nice.
Actually, I three students.
I,
The practice is different, and yesterday night I changed everything.
I say,
So
but
given much time
I
for them.
I don't understand your claim that he's your senior
Much time.
disciple. He has hardly got a beard on him. It's not even turned white. And you call him a senior disciple. Huh? And he didn't even burp, and he didn't even blink, took all the praise. He said, yeah, my maestro is praising me today. He's calling me the senior fellow. I call them the senior felons.
No, he has a little bit weird in this. That's all because of Corona effect, COVID effect.
I think it's a fake beard. He's just done some makeup on him today.
Anyway, Bhaiji, that now I will call my one more student.
This Mridangam, you've got some iron nuts on it. Huh? You've got the modern Mridangam. Huh?
I will show that instead of this strip, leather strip, they have this iron nut and bolt system so that we can tune, and we can also change the right pudi and left pudi. It's easier. There is one more set of
I hate these modifications, by the way.
And one more gentleman, he is a scientist. He has made Mridangam out of fiber and plastic and everything. You can see this.
I see.
It's called Sri Mridangam. So he says no skin or nothing has been used. Everything is man-made.
You see,
So
I hate the Saraswati Veenas with all these mechanical keys, and the wooden ones are all fake. They just show pieces. and this picks, the picks are turning it into a guitar. So anyway, but that's a different battle I'll fight with you one day.
Actually, it doesn't look nice on veena. The regular wooden peg is so nice to look.
Yeah, and I love the sound. I love the sound of the original stripping. I think it's a tradition. This doesn't need to be changed. I think investment needs to be on how to play it well, rather than.
But let's say present day traveling and everything, it becomes easier with some modification.
Yeah. My pushback on that, Shivu, is that in the times when people walked the distances, when they went on bullock carts and horses, they carried the original instruments which were bigger and heavier. Now we've got all the comfort in travel, yet we want something simpler and easier.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all heavy things. They were happy with that. We now have all the facility and making things lighter.
Yes. But I'm so happy to see you play the original style, you know. I'm so happy to see. How old is this instrument? Is this, how old? It looks very, very beautiful, this instrument.
Which one?
The one in your hands. It's very nice.
Yeah, this is a very traditional one.
How old is this?
This is about, I bought it about 30 years back.
I see. It's very nice. Very good sound.
Keep on thinking this leather.
Yeah. Very, very nice.
This is some jackwood.
I see. Jackwood of the Jack and Jill fame?
Maybe.
Can we have the camera turn a little bit to the left, pan to the left a bit? Just a bit. Little bit more, little bit more, little bit more, little bit more. That's good. And can you ask this student of yours to become a little shorter? Can he shrink his size?
Actually, he's short. Can you see his hair?
Yes.
Can you move the
He looks like a film star, you know. Must be your no. Don't move the camera back. Keep it the way I tell. Bring it back to where it was. Yes, where it was. Yes, don't move because I see it differently. Don't be misled by what you see. The software I see, it's been cropped differently on that. Yeah, and yes.
Yeah.
And your student, he plays the marching, is it?
He plays marching and he's a very good drummer.
Also.
He's also student of Arun.
Arun
and his father.
I see. I really enjoyed the session the other day with Arun. In fact, to tell you the truth, I was totally surprised in 2005 when you suggested that you have a student who plays the drums, and I was like, wow, that's going to be fantastic. And it was really, really a revelation of what all you've taught and the way he plays. He's, translated things on the drum, and people enjoyed my board of trustees and advisors and YaarAnād members. Many of them have reminisced, remembered your performance on the tawil, especially, and Arun's playing on the drum. It was quite an eye opener for many people.
He did all the technical work. Kapil, Maro.
And in fact, Pranav, is his name Pranav? His name is Pranav, is it?
No. It's Pranav that.
Yeah, because Saraswati Raja Gopalanji is saying hello to you.
Yeah. I only suggested, and he went to Morocco with her.
I see. That's nice. But did you like traveling with Saraswati? Did you enjoy the trip, Pranav?
He went.
I'm asking Pranav only. Did he enjoy the trip? Because I hate Saraswati. Yeah? Because since she left my neighborhood, she's never invited me for a dosa. She eats them all alone. She's so bad. So that's why I hate her. I hope you're listening, Saraswati.
Bhaiji, you come to Bangalore, we'll fill you with dosas of different
I came 2 years ago. I flew the Hawkeye, the fighter. I flew in the Hawkeye. I came to the aero show. I flew the fighter. My batchmates are, test pilots. Group Captain Pupinder Singh is an ace test pilot with, and several of the batchmates actually for 147 FPC. They're there. I enjoyed, but I don't think you were there at the time when I tried to call you.
Time you come for organization with your jury, it will be very nice.
Oh, that will be fantastic. We should do that. Yes.
Yeah, sure.
That will be fantastic. Let's plan that. Yes.
So for Morching, we have planned Japtal.
Oh, I
Japtal
see.
is different in our music.
No, we can hear you.
plan
We can
to-
hear you. We can hear you well. Yeah.
Yeah, the Japtal is put in a different way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is, and
We have the Sul Fakta that goes like that.
Huh?
1, 2. We have the Sul Fakta. Sul tal
Yeah,
goes with the same tali structure. Dha tak dhita, dha dhita ke na, dha tak dhita, dha dhita ke na, dha tak dhita, again dha tak dhita, karagari ke na, ha tak dhita, dha dhita ke. That is how the Sul Fakta goes. So you call this Chaptal. Fantastic.
once again, I will be singing a small line from Tyagaraja composition, and he will be accompanying me.
I see.
This is in Rag copy of Carnatic music. The original copy of our Carnatic music, it is Aron, and Aron is Sari ma pa ni sa, Sani ma ma ga ni sa. There is no Daivat or anything, but now they mix everything. I will also sing that. We will You can observe in this, there is no Daivat Prayog and other
Yes.
also.
I like that.
Kept, this is pure enough Carnatic music. Huh?
Yes. That was very nice. And what is Pranav? Um, what is the experience? How different is your experience playing the drums and the marching? If you were to compare, is there one thing of the two that you enjoy more in terms of capability and expression? Because marching is much limited in repertoire, is it?
It's just the headset, the high frequency thing. You will be missing the bass drum.
I cannot hear you. Can you speak louder?
Yeah, in the marching, it's more of the high frequency thing. So you'll be missing the bass. So it goes well with Kanjira and Mridangam. So my personal opinion is like you can't hear it more. Like you'll be missing that bass frequency in the marching. So it's not like a full complete instrument like the Kanjira or the Mridangam. It's only limited, and the nuances also. Like we can't play all the nuances played on the Mridangam.
That's what I was referring. That's exactly what I was referring to. It's more like a skeletal structure. It's suggestive in that sense. But how was your experience? Why do you still then play? If you know the limitation, what attracts you to this instrument?
Because it's the sound. Like you can't get any, you can't get the sound of this instrument on the other instrument. Maybe we can play like the Mridangam, Kanjira, like we have like mids, sharp, maybe the tone, we call it the nada. But in this instrument, like we have numerous options for tones, like we get more opportunities to showcase.
I see. So it has its own, it has a handicap, but it has its own uniqueness. And Shivuji, what is your experience in teaching the marching versus the drums, if I may? But of course, the classical mridangam and the tawil. How are they different? I mean, how have you negotiated this idea of teaching all of these, and what is your experience?
No, I was very much interested in these instruments from the beginning.
Yeah, I know.
And I started from there. And I was working with lot of film music and other things. And so that's why I like even dolak, I like tape, I like damdi. Everything is a nada for me. I don't call it them
See,
sound.
now I know why I always felt there's something filmy about you.
Not that. So I thought why can't we incorporate these instruments? And also in some years, so many of the drummers came and they started learning this mridangam art. It's also like propagating thing. At first, of course, I had a lot of opposition to have drums in our ensemble and other thing. Teaching wise, I always tell them to keep whatever the traditional things they play, but it should sound like a drum. You should not go out of that. There is one special sound and special stick work for that. So I always teach them the tihais and other things, which is made for drums or made for some congos or even for marching. I have a different set of tihais and other things for them.
I see.
So that it sounds exactly.
Talking of opposition, I'm reminded of someone whom you've played with, mandolin Srinivas. I was in the executive of the Sangeet Natak Academy at the time, and he was my nomination for. I never met him, but he was my nominee because I scouted around the country, and I made a list of people who deserve to be honored. And there was a big fight at the time because everybody was looking for their own favorites and their own biases, their friends, nominating each other. So I tried to break that stereotype in Delhi. And sadly, he's no more. Srinivas died very soon after. one of the greatest flute players of the country, and we still don't talk to each other. I think he has still problems with me because he fought against honoring Srinivas. I don't need to take the names, but he's one of the finest in the 20th century who has played the flute. And the opposition was that, oh, mandolin is not an Indian instrument. That was the opposition, imagine. So I said, well, just now we've honored somebody who plays the violin. Tell me how violin is an Indian instrument. I have made a violin. I had already made a copy of Stradivari under my very dear friend Paul Hart's guidance. I said, tell me how is violin an Indian instrument? And you honor, the National Academy honors violin and many other instruments which are not Indian. And now you want to insult the idea of mandolin being played, classical, you're honoring. I would rather that you judge whether Karnaṭak Saṅgīta has been played responsibly and ably on the mandolin. Not why, what is this instrument called mandolin? And then if you want to talk, I argued, what about the flute? How was the flute played earlier? It was played only by people, by Ranja, by the romantics, grazing their cows and buffaloes and, by the shepherds in the mountains. Then how is it that Raga is played on the Bansari also? And so on and so forth. So fortunately, there was voting and my argument won and Srinivas got the National Academy Award. Sadly, we lost him shortly after. So I don't usually tell these stories, but the idea of opposition, that it is not why, I don't know why, how, rather than why, how the people have the capability, they have this, what do you call it, this gall, to challenge the idea of why this instrument is being played. We heard saxophone the other day. You look at how, in spite of the handicap of the instrument saxophone, when we hear, and I've worked with people who are flautists in the Renaissance and the Baroque era, instruments they play, they don't have the ways to, or the methodology, the techniques to negotiate with the handicap the instrument possesses, and how do you make it capable that you're able to render Raga Shruti. Look at the first Raga he played, the Rikhab that he touched was very moving. I was moved. The Sooth, when he pulls the Sooth in a Pulit manner, not in the Dirga, when he playing the Dirg and suddenly does the Andolan, the Kharaj, on the top is heart rendering, it's moving. So you don't say, oh, why is saxophone being played? No. See how it is being played. Whether it is being responsibly attended to, whether a Kriti of Tyagaraja or by Shyama Shastri or Purandar Das or Jayadeva or Subramanian Dikshit, any one of the great composers or North Indian composers, or the Raga systems, how are they being? You demonstrated, if I may lastly give an analogy of your example, what you said about the Kafi, that how the Devata is being added by recently. So if that is going to be the parameter, then how dare you at the sixth note, we can tell these contemporary fellows, right? Then why change that? Why add that? If music has to be so pure, then we must go back into the Stone Age and live there, I don't know what these parameters are. I don't think we are the right jewelers. The etiquette of being a jeweler and a jewel, we are far behind. We are just mechanics in the end, Mechanics who have favorites and very strong biases. That is how small we are.
Even harmonium is a Western.
Yeah, exactly. And I quoted that also. Exactly. I did at that time when I was fighting. I even quoted that, yes. I call it harm or niyam. I call it harm or niyam. In my research paper written for Routledge, I wrote many years ago, I call it harm or niyam. The niyam that harms the Indian raga. The name starts with a harm. It says, here I come and I'm going to harm all of your niyams, all of your disciplines, all of your etiquette, all of your norms.
So
That was fantastic. So what
can
are
we?
we? Tell me. Go ahead. I can't hear you. There's a signal issue. Let me try and. Here you are. Back. You're back. I lost the signal for a minute. You were saying something.
Yeah, we want to do a lost thing on the four. Just here
Let me
and
dial you. The
see what
signal is
happens.
bad.
This is
Shivu, hold on. The signal is very bad. I'm going to dial you again. Okay. I'm going to dial your. Uh, I'm going to disconnect and then dial you again. The signal is very bad. I don't want to miss the conversation or a word of what he says. I'm sorry, people. I've had to disconnect. And by the way, the continued Baiṭhak 49B with Padma Shri awardee and in Punjabi folk music Vidwan Hansraj Hans is going to be delayed. He is out on a tour in Punjab, and he'll be reaching later, and it will not be at 7 or 7:30. We'll be starting at 9 as of now, and his office has informed me that it's all okay, 9 o'clock. So all those who were thinking that we were going to be sort of that we are starting at 7, so you're welcome to enjoy your meal. Meantime, when you after we finish this Baiṭhak, and then we will join with Hansraj Hansji at about 9 o'clock. And of course, I'll update the timings of the Baiṭhak on the Facebook page. I've learned how to do it. I can change the timings. By the way, I've become quite an expert. Aren't you jealous and happy about the sort of team? Gurlev is helping now with the graphics, and Manpreet and I are working on the posters. So it's being fun. And photo editing is mostly done by me, by the way, So I think there's a connection issue. I'm not able to get through. I'm going to try and start the call again. Meantime, I'm going to, in fact, show you something beautiful that I will be having tomorrow morning. If you've seen already some of the posters that I have shared, here you are. I lost you quite a bit. There was a very bad signal. And are you there? Can you hear me? I cannot see you yet. Yeah. So there you are. I can see you now. So people, I'm just showing the poster for tomorrow. Meantime, we'll have Prerna Shrimali on Monday, June 8th at 4 p.m. She's one of the greatest Kathak dancers on the planet, believe you me. And it'll be the Baiṭhak number 60. On Monday, you may kindly note, she'll be joining live from Jaipur. She dared travel back to Jaipur to her parents, imagine, and she drove all by herself. I tried to dissuade her. I tried to tell her, no, it's not a good idea, but she promised that she will not talk to anyone, and she did not. So that was very, very good. I was glad to hear she's fine, and she made her journey back. And then tomorrow morning, as I was mentioning, we have a very, very special friend of ours, Vidushi Gopika Varma. She'll be joining at 2 p.m. tomorrow. It'll be a treat. Two of her students, Jayashri Shankara and Alex Raphael, will be joining. And believe you me, it's Mohiniyattam, but something unique, which I don't think has been done before. It's an idea that I had, and I'm going to be doing that with other dance forms as well. and she's been very, 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 very kind to listen to my madness and consent in the end, and she'll be telling us, we'll be learning so much about the idea of dance, about Shringar and so on and so forth tomorrow. So kindly note that, 2 p.m. tomorrow. And then we have, tomorrow afternoon, we have another Baiṭhak. And we will travel virtually, of course. We will go to, we'll go to Islamabad to be in conversation with the sons of the legendary Janab Tufail Niazi. They represent one of the major Rababi traditions. And by gosh, Tufail Niazi is a legend in times. His two sons, Javed and Babar Niazi, they are stunning. I've known them for many, many, many years. And they have very kindly consented to join us tomorrow at 5 p.m. 5:30 p.m. rather. And so mark these two dates for tomorrow. And as I'm showing you these, I will be glad to share with you the Tuesdays program for Tuesday as well. By the time they're setting the microphones, resetting, I guess they have gotten something sorted out meantime. That is, you've known those who followed Sikh music and world music. They know this fellow called, a beautiful fellow with a great sense of humor called Laya Singh. And he will be joining from Melbourne, Australia on Tuesday, June 9th at 12 p.m. India time. It'll be 4 p.m. Australia. And I had a wonderful, wonderful conversation, and he teased me that, that he's now 70. I told him, no, you're 17. And he told me that he's now, having some issues with listening. And I teased him back, when did you ever listen to me? So anyway, we'll have lots of fun on June 9th, Tuesday, 12 p.m. India time. And for all of those in the US and Canada, you will be able to see him virtually as you snore your night out. It'll be 4 p.m. Australia time, and I think maybe a little 4:30 or something in New Zealand. So here we are. I think Shivu's got things set up for him. I'm jealous, You've got a wonderful, wonderful team with you, and I'm sitting all alone, Shivu. I hate you, I mean, there's a reason to hate you. Well, okay, who's the cameraman? Is the cameraman in front of the screen, or is someone behind the camera as well?
He's
just sitting next to the
laptop.
Okay, so I need the camera a little behind, maybe 1 foot away. Behind, go back, more, go back. Yeah, that is slowly. यार, क्यों मेरे से पंगा ले रहे हो? मैं सरदार आदमी हूँ, पंजाब का, पंगा मत लो. कह रहे हैं, हम पंजाबी जो है ना, दो चीजें सबसे बेहतर करते हैं. हम सबसे बेहतर आशिक होते हैं और सबसे बेहतर दुश्मन होते हैं. हमें इश्क करना सबसे अच्छा आता है और लड़ाई करनी बहुत अच्छी आती है. हम जो पंजाबी में कत्ल करते हैं वो आपको स्वाद नहीं आ सकता किसी और भाषा में. So just pan a little to the left, just a little to the left, just a bit, little bit more. That's it. That's good for me. Perfect. And if you touched the camera now, I'm going to come literally through the streaming out like a jinn and demand a cup of tea as punish as a penalty.
No problem.
All right.
I think better in coffee.
This is looking wonderful. Say that again.
No, we are better in doing coffee.
I did not drink tea and coffee for 23 years, and I am now I'm now bathing in both of them. So I'm okay.
So we'll be doing just a small finale.
What do you mean
And,
small? What do you mean small? What is a small thing? We don't know what is small. After all this conversation, you want to now deny us the joy that we've just learned how to appreciate the art of the mridangam, the marching, and the parant. And now you're gonna tease us by telling that you're going to be very short.
Yeah, no. That is me. And I don't know about the time
Oh, we, we
restrictions.
have we have no problems. In fact, we had at 7 o'clock. We were to have a session with Padma Shri, a continued session from the other day because he's a member of parliament. He had a meeting come up at 7:30 the other day, a week ago. It was last Saturday, and Padma Shri awardee Hansraj Hans, who's the Punjabi folk music icon. So he was to join at 7 today, but he'll be joining at 9. So we have a lot of time now. I've just shared that when we disconnected. I was sharing that with all our listeners. So we have time-wise, we have no issues. If you are a miser, I can well understand.
Take that.
Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
Wow, wow. That was fantastic. Congratulations. And thank you for that. It was wonderful, wonderful one. Um, I cannot hear you, Shivu. I cannot hear you.
Now,
Yes, I can now. Yes.
thanks for giving this wonderful opportunity. And of course, I enjoyed playing with Nagendra Prasad, Somshekhar, Pranav Dutt, and our staff from the Sikhs. Pranav.
Appreciate that.
There also nothing. This is Kapil. He also plays on drums. He only managed Arun Kumar show on that day.
I see.
This is Hemadri. He learns vocal. This is Pranav.
Can you come, Hemadri, can you come a little bit front? I could not see you. Yes, now I can. Yes, thank you.
This is Pranav. And this is Vidya Shankara.
I see. Wonderful. Thank you all for that. Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
And
hope you enjoyed it.
oh yeah, of course. I have a couple of questions now. If your student who's playing the mridangam can help help me in a couple of musicological tal-centric questions. The others can now. Thank you for showing up in front of the screen. They can go back to their fielding positions. They can take back their positions now. So, as I can see the pura, the right hand pura in front of me, I mean, I can see it like it's on the face. If you can play ta, how do you play? Can you play, like if we, in the north, we say ta, for example, how do you play that on the ta?
Actually, ta in our mridangam is left side.
Okay, ta is, and dha, how do you play dha?
Dha means both
Left and right.
Left and
Yes, how do you play that?
Don't have a word like dha. We say it is deem.
Deem.
Yes, so you play dhin or dheem. Yes, that makes sense. And so there's ta and dheem. There's nothing called dha as such.
No, in
Dha,
da
of course, there is.
Deem. Instead of da, we use dim.
Dheem, yes, I understand that. That we've already spoken. And you play the chanti open on the right side with the four fingers. What is this sound?
This is called a chapu.
Chapu.
There is no
Okay.
sound for that.
No, this is the chapu is like the thap, or chapu is the chanti, or the chapu is that. And when do you play it? When do you play it in this? When do you use the chapu?
When we play dim, so instead of this, we use this.
I see. So instead of
And also talang, when
Okay.
that talangu comes, talangu.
Like talanna dha.
okay, I see. And the other aspect is the in the sense that titter, when we play titter in the north, so you play the same. And dhitter, how do you play dhitter?
Kita means we will call as kita. Kita.
So kita. So, but with the left, is there a left played in that, in the dhitta or kita? So you played kita. You call it kita?
Kita only.
Yeah.
In kita. So titter and kita would be with the K. And the ka is, how do you play the ka or ka or k, ka or ki? How do you play that? Ka, like ka, with the ka. So this is ka, okay, ki, okay. And in the left side you play, you don't play ka or ghe. Do you play ghe in the mridangam? Ghe or ghin? It's a signal issue, I think.
So not left side.
Say that because we lost the signal for a moment. I asked, how do you have the sound ghin or ghe?
We have one. We don't call it as gay. We just take gum. This is gum.
It's a pity. The signal is. Let me try and call you again. Let me do this exercise. It's a pity that I'm having a bad signature right now. But let me. I think it's important to have a proper call. In the meantime, I'm going to try and shift my ears. Without any issues today. There is. Okay, we have them here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah. You're back.
Oh, there you are. Yes. Let me get you back on. Here we are. We were on, actually, we were on this frame. Yes. And much better. So the question that I had was about ghe, and ghe you were demonstrating on the left
Yes.
with that. Can you demonstrate, say that again what you were talking about? Say that again. Can you play that again? Oh, there are microphone stands actually in front. Say that again. Signal, bad signal. Yeah.
We call it as key.
What a bad time to have a bad signal. You're frozen, Shivu. Totally frozen.
No, we call it as gumaki.
Hold on. There was very bad signal. Can everybody make sure nobody's streaming, nobody's using the Wi-Fi signal right now? Anybody watching on Facebook or any other way should stop doing that. This signal should not be used by anybody else. This is a very bad signal right now, if you can hear me. Do not watch. Do not use the signal, please. Anyone. Because we had good signal, now the signal is bad. I think there's something changed. Yeah, now it's getting better. So, yeah, you know, people cheat.
So we,
I think we have a mole among your students. There is a traitor.
this is called gumaki. So there is no any gum or gay anything called.
What do you call it?
Gumaki.
Ghumaki. I see.
It's called as gumaki.
Yeah, I got that because there was earlier I couldn't make out. Now I did. Thank you for that. So now I see that you're playing with a closed hand, like a tabla would play. A gut, the way the gut is played with the gut, right? And you're also striking with the hand, plucking as if clawing at the. You're clawing the sound. Yeah, both are used. When did this playing technique come in the mridangam, the closed hand in a way?
I don't know, but we see from two schools, that is Panani school and Mani, they were using this gumki a lot. Before that, there was only one fellow who was playing mridangam, it is Narayan Swami Appa, and we don't have his recordings.
I see.
But these were legends, And especially Palani Subramanya Pillai was great in his left. He was a left-hander. His left was great.
I see. And the right hand, when you play the ta or deem, it is also with the gut hand, as we, in the north, for example, people don't know. I mean, if my research with Bhai Arjan Singh Tarangad had not happened, the three forms of playing which north has forgotten, it's because they were just players, they were not grammarians or musicologists within the field, and they were not versed with the idea of the advent, how the percussion evolved. In the Darbar Sahib Parampara, in the Golden Temple, what you know as Golden Temple, in the Darbar Sahib Parampara, the percussion evolved in three ways. First is the open hands. Both are open, right? When you play the open baya, and the thap which you play is the chanti, half hand, right? Half hand would be this, and full hand is this. So this is chanti, and this is the thap, as we call. Now, and the open-handed kag, he, two on the left, and ta, du, na, or ta, thung, ga, ta, du, na, te, te. These are the five sounds on the basic. These are the basic seven sounds at the basic seven, and then they evolve like ghe and te become dhe and dha, and with the stresses, the way you stress on the right from ta to te, so dha to dhe, and ra to ta, te is with the thumb, is played with the thumb. I reintroduced the usage of the te back in north in the later 80s and early 90s. Like trikadhe te dha. So trikadhe, dhe, trikadhe te dha. This is how the nikas would be. Now, the right hand, the way you're playing, for example, is what is usually played on the tabla, right, with the open hand. But this is the third evolution. So the first evolution was called sath. Both hands are open, fully used, not half, full hands. The second form was the jat. The jat form, which even from Punjab, one of the schools offshoots of Nathadwara, which people don't know, contemporary scholars don't know. It's basically Punjab, Rajasthan is one, in a way, civilization. The whole is one system originally. For example, the Jat system, they only play the chants. Dhat, dhananaga, dhananaga, dhat, dhananaga. In Punjab, in our tradition, we have compositions. Dhanana, dhanana, trigdhanana, takina, nataka, dhananaga, nagataka, dhananaga, nagataka, dhananaga, nagataka. Tadrigdhananaga, dhananaga, gidha, tadrigdhananaga, dhananaga, gidha, tadrigdhananaga, dhananaga, gidha, dhanaga, dhananaga, dhananaga, etc. Tat, 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 deen, kridin, ta, kridha. So all of these are Jat compositions for us. In the Jat compositions, a style, the second evolution that happened in the Darbar Sahib, it was very, very interesting what happened. The left hand remained open, but the right hand became closed. So the introduction of the right hand came centuries ago, around Guru Arjan's time, which is the advent of the Jodi as well, when the Pakhavaj was cut into two, or the Mridanga was cut into two, not creating the tabla, it was creating the Jodi, which you've seen me play, which I revived at that, because that is the wooden structure, and no tabla has been played. I mean, it has never been played outside Dhrupad, for example. Now, in that, the right hand became, so dhad, dhananaga, dhananaga, dhad, dhananaga, dhanana, tak, taki, nana, trigdha, taki, nana, trigdha, taki, nana, trigdha, nana, trigdha. So this became closed, right? And the left hand remained open. So taki, nana, trigdha will be, the left would still be, dha would be open-handed gay or gin. The third evolution which happened in the Darbar Sahib was the Gat. Now, Gat is a Pakhavaj, or a Pakhavaj Gat is there. There's the Tabla Gats, but obviously what the Tabalchis created as Gat, they would call the Tabla Gats. But originally, Gat is also a form of composition, but Gat was also the playing style in which both hands became closed. So when you play the Ghumaki, the way you showed, and you play the ta or the way you play it, that for us is the gat, the third. As Pai Arjan Singh Tarangad would tell, that the jodi was the complete percussion instrument, because on that instrument you could play all three systems, evolutions of the mridanga, which is the sat, jat and gat. This information was only, and I've researched plenty with all the pagdi nashis and so on and so forth. So in terms of grammar, nobody else had this idea. So the advent of percussion, the way it happened in Punjab, which is obviously the land of Vedas, and the way it evolved were three evolutions major. I have always been amazed by the idea how the jat, what you play on the mridanga, is the jat form, is the second form where you're playing, the left hand at times can go open, and then the gat form, and sometimes there is also the sat aspect, which we do not see in the north. Again, Karnaṭak and Gurbani Saṅgīta, two systems which are not affected by the Darbari music of North India, which is very, very interesting for me to look at.
Yeah. We too had a very good information from you, Bhaji.
Oh.
You researched a lot. Really.
I appreciate that. I appreciate
Anyway,
that. So that was,
once again, thank you. Hello.
thank you so much for taking time out, Shivaji, and everyone else, all of your students and the entire team, all the production team of yours. Do send me the names, because when we somehow, I would love to acknowledge, I have to ask others as well. Also with Dr. P.K. Ganesh, he had a wonderful team of students assisting him. Thank you for connecting me with him, because I was looking for whom to get, because the the great saxophonist was already here. We've lost him, and I was wondering, so it was wonderful how you managed, you made sure we had a dental surgeon to translate, help translate. It was wonderful. Thank you so much once again, and I appreciate that, and I'll hope to talk to you and see you as soon as the things open, as soon as the world opens. Right now we are still we're going down. Then maybe we'll get to pull. We are going down, and then we'll start spinning. Huh? Then maybe there'll be a recovery. Things are not so very good right now. But I hope, I wish, and I pray for everyone that everybody is inspired to keep away and abstain from sort of too much of socializing and so on and so forth. Shivaji, as I began earlier, that this is a very, very important. This week that has gone by is very will be remembered in history for the Sikhs, because of the 1984 attack, destruction, and that I could celebrate all those lives which were lost. Both sides, we lost so many military men, army men. They were following orders. Although there were many people, and then we lost civilians. It was a black day for the entire nation and for humanity, but that we were celebrating with the mridangam, with the hope that peace prevails, happiness and love and respect of each, one another, acceptance of diversity, celebrating languages, celebrating the entire gamut of intangible and tangible wealth that humankind has been gifted with. All our respective elders have worked so hard to harvest some of the finest, heirlooms that we have been endowed with, that we are able to honor them. So I cannot thank you enough for sharing today. It was a very poignant day for me. When I remember, I usually keep quiet. I don't get into the politicking part, but it meant a lot as a percussionist myself to celebrate percussion with the hope that in the Darbar Sahib Sarovar, yet again there will be ripples which will bring in the angels and spank the devil away.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope so. We all hope for the best, Baji. Thank you very much. We will meet you.
Yes. Namaskar. So friends, this is my very, very dear friend Shivu, of course Vidwan Anoor Ananthakrishna Sharma, and I hope that you enjoyed this fantastic presentation and representation of the art of Mridanga, the Mridangam as it is played in Karnaṭak Saṅgīta. I learned a lot. I could ask him a few questions. Of course, we've interacted earlier, but I thought as this is a conversation which is going on record, so that I've recorded so much, but they're all in the archives, and I don't have time or resources, nor a team to look into what all I have recorded. But this is one good thing about it is my conversations, like I've done for 33 years, these are happening live and in front of you all. In the way, these are not any banavti. There's nothing artificial. I get to joke and I get to tease. I get teased, and we laugh, and of course, we have moments that are poignant. We reminisce the losses of heritage, both tangible and intangible, but we celebrate the gifts that still remain with us. And we engage in a conversation so that the newer generation, the generations to come, will be inspired to take up, they will understand that they can be engineers, they can be doctors, they can be pilots like I was, or they can be military men, they can be politicians, they can be beautiful people, they can be idiots. Whatever they chose to be, they can be dacoits, they can be assassins, who cares? They can be saviors, they can be doctors, they can be nurses, they can be cleaners and usherers and drivers and pilots. But it's that they will be learned people, that they will be literate about our cultural traditions. And the choices they make, they will make informed choices. They will be culturally able to, they will have the cultural perspective which I have been trying to I've been crying for. That we are nowadays mostly armed with a technical perspective, a mechanical perspective. Seldom do we find a cultural perspective. And I've argued over the years that Taj Mahal is not a produce of a technical perspective. Technicians created it. Architects came into being, builders, stone cutters, engravers, jewelers, designers, painters, and so on. So everybody came in. Writers, measurers, But who ideated the idea? Who had the idea to create something like the Taj? Where did the idea come from to create something like the Ajanta Ellora? Who ideated the idea of the Darbar Sahib, or so many temples that there are, the mosques there are? They are the produce of a cultural perspective, a socio-cultural perspective. Sometimes there's a need, but then there are marvels which are beyond a religious need. They are sovereign. They are independent of any subjective cliche or subjective, some subjectivity. Those are marvels. They belong to everyone. That is why we need to engage in such a discourse, in a conversation, so that we are able to reconnect with that idea, the idea of dialogue, of discussion, of contemplation, because they are the mothers, fathers, and midwives and mid-husbands of creativity. And I hope that the soil would continue to be fertile, and that beautiful creations and manifestations will happen, and for a long time to come. A very good evening to you. I remind I'll share with you all tomorrow morning. Before I go tomorrow, I have to share with you what's happening tonight, my lovelies. We have Padma Shri awardee, which is the highest civilian awards, honored, endowed by the Government of India. We have Padma Shri awardee Hansraj Hans joining us today. It was to be at 7 p.m. Right now, we should have been on, but he was still traveling, and we will be joining with him. I'll be connecting with him at about 9, unless I hear from his team that it's going to be further delayed by 15, 10, 20 minutes. But I think it's all set, because the team that is to his assistants who will help us in connecting via the technology for the streaming are there in the residence, and I'll be doing the checks with them shortly after I cut this live stream. And as of now, the time is to meet at 9 p.m. I hope you can keep your reminder, sort of make it, get the notification and so on and so forth. Do like the page and share it, etc., etc. Be my marketing agents, people. Don't be so misers, such misers. Tomorrow morning, then we have a wonderful. I'm really looking forward for the session. Is Vidushi Gopika Verma. She is one of the nation's finest Mohiniyattam dancers. She'll be joined by two of her students, Jayashri Shankaran and Alex Raphael, and we'll be having a very, very unique session. It'll not just be simply dance Mohiniyattam, there'll be much more, and I'm keeping that as a surprise. And tomorrow evening, then we have the two sons, very capable and able sons of the legend Tufail Niazi. He belonged to a Rababi family from my district, Kapurthala, and Amritsar region, and they are really wonderful, and I look forward to having that confirmation. Gopika Vermaji's conversation is at about 2 p.m. and I'll be at 5:30. Then we'll go to virtually to Islamabad. Believe you me, we won't be asked for any visas or so forth. Then we have Monday is Vidushi Prerna Shrimali. She is one of our nation's finest Kathak dancers. She is in Jaipur currently. Due to quarantine and lockdown, she is with her parents and her family who are elderly, and she's very, very kindly agreed to join us at 4 p.m. on Monday. So kindly take note of that. And of course, many of you know the world music fellow named Daya Singh. He has a wonderful band drawn from various traditions in Australia, and he's done tremendous work over the years. And I'm looking forward to laughing some and fighting some with him at 4 p.m. Australia time and 12 p.m. India time. And we'll get to listen to him sing some as well. 12 p.m. that is noon time on Tuesday. And other programs, of course, I'll share with you in the next days. We have a film next week, by the way. We're still going strong. And I'll see you later in the evening. I know many of you have left messages for Shivu, and I'll be conveying that. He'll answer he's active on Facebook, and I'm sure he will. I'll request him to spare a few minutes to respond to questions and to thank you all for joining. And you have my gratitude for taking time out as well. Do get to inspire people to join these, Baithaks. And all those youngsters who are also telecasting their television stations, do it early, when there are major senior artists, engaged at the same time. Do not create clash, don't clash the timings. And I know that you watch later, you send me messages after, but why to do that? You should be participating in a live discussion and conversation. So I'll see you later at 9, and tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after, the day after. A very good evening, and enjoy your dinner. Meantime, I'm going to enjoy mine. Hopefully there's something nice waiting for me. Oh, I remember. Moritz had mentioned about a pizza. I'm looking forward to that. Khuda Hafiz. Until then, and Namaskar and Sat Kartar. Varjika Khalsa, Varjik Fateh.